Hello everyone, welcome once again to Editing the Academy, our top 20. I'm Darryl.
I'm Laura.
And we'll do a little baby clap. This is top 20, Darryl's top 20, number 17. This is a little film called Coda. Coda was a 2021 film written and directed by Sean Heder. It's an English language remake of the 2014 French-Belgian film La Familia Belair. I'm totally butchering that. Stars Emilia Jones and Julio Derbez, Troy Kotsur, Ferdia Walsh-Pilo, Daniel Durant in his feature film debut, and Marlene Matlin, nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Kotsur, and Best Adapted Screenplay, and it won all three. And I just love the fact that he won that so much.
He was great, yeah.
Okay, why I love this film. I've mentioned this film a few times on this podcast, and now I get to talk about why, which I'm so excited about. Like we mentioned on the Sense and Sensibility cast, this is a film where these scene choices, what you are shown and what happens in the scenes, is perfection. It is absolute perfection. You get exactly what you need, no more, no less. There is nothing in this film that is wasted. There is not a moment that is not important to the overarching story of everything. Each scene is exactly what it needs to be. And this is why I keep coming back to this movie when we have these kind of conversations of, that scene didn't really work for me in this film, or their scene choices didn't work, and I keep coming back to this as the example of how to do it and do it correctly. The writing and the directing, they make the correct choices for every scene that is there. I'll also freely admit that I'm kind of a sucker for films where there's character and people experiencing music at its core.
Okay.
That's a go-to for me. Anytime someone is experiencing music or music is central to the plot and story, I'm in. I'm just such a music lover. Think Once, for example, like the movie Once.
Love movie, yep.
This is a film that 100% earns its emotional moments. A lot of films don't. They lead you there, they force you there. This one earns every emotional moment that you have throughout the entire film. It is so emotionally honest. I've challenged you to find another 3 or 4 films that are as emotionally honest as this film is. There are no villains, there are no heroes. Everyone's perspective is there, put on display, but there's no heroes or villains in this entire film. You're not rooting for or against anybody. You're kind of rooting for her a little bit throughout, but that's more minor. Like, there's no massive hero's journey she's going on throughout this entire thing. It's just life, and it's presented excellently. Basically, everyone's just trying to figure everything out. I love that the first thing you see / hear is her singing as she's working on the boat. That sets everything up for me. Because for those of you that don't know, Coda is a story. Coda actually stands for something. I forget exactly what the terminology is.
Child of deaf adults.
That's it, thank you. So a hearing child in a family where the adults cannot hear. It explores all of that, and that does it with such love and care and passion and just such tenderness throughout the entire time. And the movie itself, for me, like I said, it earns every emotional moment, but it takes you on the voyage throughout, and it's slowly exposed, at times quite comically, but you understand what the world is being deaf. You also understand her perspective and her world, and there's not a moment where you're confused or lacking understanding or need more information. You're just going on this beautiful ride, and you're learning things as you're going. It's just such a beautiful journey. You don't know. Well, okay, I'm going to back up. Excuse me. In the first 5 minutes of the film, you get the dynamics, the family business, family relationships. You get her friend. You get the dad loves rap and why. Everything is just so perfectly laid out and displayed for you that everything is, you're given, and I'll keep harping on this, but you're given all of the information when you need it to continue the story along. The scene where she sings and then they cut the sound, that is such, again, it earns its emotional moments. brings you in and shows you why the parents are there. They're there to support her, but also what it's like to be there and why they're talking about what they're having for dinner that night because they can't hear, and that shows you why. Like, she's upset because they're not paying attention, but they can't hear.
Right.
So this is, and then you see what it's like to be them in that scene. Like, again, you're given what you need when you need it. Throughout the entire thing, it plays with sound so beautifully. Sound is a character in this film. I like a lot of the language that she uses is noise metaphor. Like, she keeps talking to them about how noisy they are. Just little things like that sprinkled throughout, where sound is just such an important character throughout the entire thing. A couple more things and then you can go. I love that when she doesn't know how to express herself, she does it through sign, because that's her default. Even though she can speak, even though she can talk, her emotional core is with her family and signing. I just think that's beautiful. The dynamic between the mom and daughter, I thought was beautifully portrayed. You understand that they are at odds, they have their moments, they come together, they love each other, but they just have difficulty, and that is so just tenderly handled throughout. The son, I thought he was probably the weakest out of everybody. His character was probably the weakest, but even he was still fully fleshed out. He wants to be the one to be relied on, and he struggles with the fact that he can't because he can't hear. That's a problem for him, even though he wants this, and I thought that was well handled. And yeah, that's it. This earns every single moment of what it does. I just love this movie so much. It really should be higher on my list.
So, love this movie. I agree with you. So
I
you
challenge
actually
you.
made me watch this
I did.
movie, and the challenge was, if you don't cry at the end, you have no soul. So, first of all, I did cry at the end, so I have a soul. So that's always good to know. But also, I cried every movie, but this movie earned it, like you said. The thing I found interesting about this movie is a very specific movie about deafness and a deaf family, and it is a very universal story that is told through a deaf family. So, like, for instance, you've got the mother who is worried that she will not be able to give her child all the things that she needs, and that has nothing to do with deafness.
No.
And you have a mother who also she is a very limited person, and some of those limitations have nothing to do with her inability to hear.
Correct.
So I love that, like the family dynamics, a lot of that has nothing to do with deafness, although it is shown through their inability to hear. So
It's a vessel or a vehicle,
Yes.
not it's so hugely important to the story.
yes, it has to be part of the story, but also if they were to tell a different story or a similar story through a different family, through different, whatever, they could do that.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that, because it really is about a coming of age story.
Yep.
We've seen a bazillion of them, we will see a bazillion of them, but this was told so uniquely in this family, and yet universal emotions that everybody can understand. Everybody understands your parents, her parents she feels like they're holding her back, but she feels like she owes them, and all of those things. So I thought that was really, really interesting, and it also gave such a sense of place, like Gloucester. That is Gloucester, Mass. And that is a fishing family. Yes, they are a fishing family where most of them can't hear, but that is a fishing family in that community. And the Marlene Matlin character, who I keep coming back to because I just loved her so much. She is feeling things in that community. She's like, oh, they're thinking things about me, and they don't like me, and blah, blah, blah. And she's got a big old chip on her shoulder.
Oh yeah, she calls them the hearing bitches.
Exactly. So it's like, well, of course they don't like you because you don't like them, and that's pretty obvious. And once they start to relate to each other, the community starts to learn how to sign, and the family starts to try to relate to them a little bit better. But whatever that barrier was, in this movie the barrier is deafness, but whatever that barrier was, it's universal.
Yeah.
That's just how people feel. And I like the way that you said that there are no heroes, there are no villains. There are people just trying to get by, and that's what they were trying to do. And each individual was very unique. I love the thing it talked about, that it brought to my mind of things that I never would have thought about, being very, able to hear and entitled in that manner. You don't take you take for granted the noises your body makes, or noises that are happening when activities are happening that you don't realize other people can hear. I'm like, never would have thought of that, and that was so funny and yet poignant. So, loved it. Great movie. Great performances, too.
Absolutely. Everybody is top notch. I was honestly surprised that she didn't get nominated. She won for Not All My Children, that's the soap opera. Marlene won for...
Oh, Children of Lesser God.
That's the one, thank you.
Yeah.
So I was surprised she wasn't nominated because I thought she did phenomenal.
I thought she did great.
I thought all of the relationships were clearly defined even as they were evolving. Like, it's apparent from very early on that mom and dad are still hot for each other after all of these years. And
it's very sweet.
It is incredibly sweet. But again, those are things that are earned. They don't shy away from anything. They don't force anything. Things are put on display, but you're just given just the right at the right moment. It is just such a well-crafted story, and the director was able to visualize and bring that story to perfection on screen.
And I will say for Marlee Matlin, first of all, one of my favorite characters she ever played was on The West Wing.
Oh God, yeah.
I loved that character. I thought she was fantastic. She's a great actress. And she actually was signed up for this movie, and then they were going to hire hearing adults for the father and the son, and she said she would not play the part unless they hired deaf actors.
Really?
Yep, so she said she would leave if they didn't hire deaf actors for those roles.
That is amazing.
And good for her, and that was the right move, and the fact that they thought that they could get away with hiring actors who could hear, I think that's wrong.
There are so many, and I'm going to harp on this just one last time, and then I'll stop, I promise. But there are so many emotional touch points along the way in this movie that just reinforce everything that the movie is trying to show. That you're going through something, and even though you love the people around you, they can still be impediments at times to the things you want to do. After she sings for the. It's not talent show, but whatever the...
To get into college, yeah.
No, not that one. When they're at school and they have their like...
Yeah, like their showcase, their chorus concert or whatever.
They couldn't hear, and her dad just goes out and looks at the stars, and she comes over and sits next to him, and he wants to be able to relate to what she went through, because he can see because she's singing, and he can see that joy.
Yeah.
And the only way he can do that is to put his hands on her vocal cords and ask her to sing. And while he doesn't fully get it, it's so much more important because he gets it just a little bit more and why it's important to her. Again, an emotional moment that is 100% earned. And he's like, whoa.
And he's trying.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing, it's like, I may not be able to get it, but I will try.
Yes. Amazing. Absolutely.
Great movie. Yep.
Cannot recommend this one enough, but that is my number 17. Coda. Watch it now. See ya.
Bye.